Hello everyone. I was just going through GS3 paper of Civil Services Mains 2025, and through this video I wanted to give my first impressions on the sections of environment and disaster management. So overall the paper was good, and the section of environment and disaster management was particularly easy to moderate in nature, and there is a very high scope for scoring in this section. And so as a faculty of environment and disaster management, I am personally happy with the nature of questions which have been asked. So I'll tell you why. I want to give my opinion in 5 different sections. So first one is weightage, and then the nature of questions, and then the difficulty level as well as sources, and lastly the scorability. Talking about the weightage of the section of environment and disaster management, there are a total of 5 direct questions, and there is one more question overlapping with science and technology. So including that question, it will amount to a total of 75 marks out of 250. And we already had a good weightage in GS1 of the section of geography. So now considering environment and disaster management to be a related section of geography, so I again, a faculty of geography, would be definitely very happy. So because we have around 75 marks. In fact, I was also surprised to see there are 3 more questions related to geography coming here. One was on the high value crops, and then there was also a question on the food processing industry as well as semiconductor industry. So definitely this is linked to geography. So together I can say nearly 245 out of so the 500 marks of GS1 and GS3 account for geography and related sections. So that is in terms of the overall weightage. So talking about the nature of the questions, so many of the questions were on a predictable themes. So for example, we had a question on the energy independence and how we can achieve this through clean technology. So definitely this is an overlapping question between environment and so the science and technology. So however, so you have to be very thorough with the recent initiative of the government with respect to the renewable energy, for example, solar, wind, etc. And particularly in the context of biotech, it has been asked. So therefore, it is a question overlapping between both the sections, but the theme was predictable. In addition to that, another predictable theme was the question on the CCUS, carbon capture, utilization and storage. So this was a question which was again highly predictable, because the question on the climate change and mitigation and any kind of initiatives to deal with the climate change was important, right? So talking about the 15 marker, we had a question on the groundwater depletion and the causes behind them, and the recent initiatives taken, a highly predictable part of it. Environmental issues, particularly in the context of water resources, this is a very predictable theme from both geography as well as environment. And so another question was on the environmental issues of mining. So this question was, even though it is not considered to be too, so the predictable theme on the current basis, but however the question is little bit general and can be answered by the UPSC aspirant with a basic idea of what are the environmental issues coming out of the mining. So this definitely have to link it with geography section. And last, the question on the Paris climate change agreement and the subsequent COP26. So this was, I was surprised to see that UPSC has asked a question from 2021. Of course, this is important at the international level, and I was surprised to know that there was no question on the latest COPs, right? So this was a question, I can say, which was very easy to approach, because as a part of UNFCCC and Paris Agreement, these events were very, very important. The Glasgow Summit and India's commitment through Panchamrita and the subsequent changes which we have made. Okay, so overall these questions were highly predictable and could have been tackled easily. And one more question on the unpredictable lines was on the saltwater intrusion. So I was surprised to see that there are no questions on disaster management at all. So rather than they are asking about environmental hazard. Okay, so this is a great shift, because so saltwater intrusion as such is not a disaster. We cannot consider it to be a disaster. Rather, it's a great environmental issue. Okay, so again the theme was slightly inspired from current affairs and a static issue of environmental. So a total of 6 questions we can consider here. So that is the nature. Most of the themes were predictable, and so not many surprises. So now coming to the third part about the difficulty level, the themes are not too difficult, they are moderate. Okay, so they are easy to moderate, we can say. Okay, so because so the issues are always in news, or so it was part of the static syllabus itself. So in that sense, it is not too difficult. So talking about the fourth aspect, the sources. So you can very clearly see that most of the themes were or traditional nature, and they were not too surprises, and so many of these issues were in news, as well as they were under discussion for a long period of time, whether we are talking about Paris Agreement or groundwater depletion, or even the carbon capture, utilization, storage, or the mining aspect of environment. So most of the things were predictable. So we can thoroughly could have prepared as a part of your static, and definitely integration with the current affairs is very much required. The most important part here is your answer writing practice, because because most of the themes everyone would know. There were no surprises. Most of the students would have definitely known these issues, and how well you are going to write, and how well you are going to add the value addition, and and try to get that extra mark, that is going to make the difference. So coming to the fifth aspect, scorability. So scorability is all dependent upon how well you had done the answer writing practice. If at all you had done good answer writing practice and had done a thorough correlation with the current affairs, you can score really well here. Otherwise, you would tend to get a general marks here. So this is my 5-point analysis. So I hope all of you have done well. And so I wish you all the best to those who are appearing for the language and optional. Give your best. So see you soon. Thank you.